Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about what I think is the biggest tip for world building. There's going to be 5 tips that we're going to talk about today, but I think the first one is probably the biggest. So, stick with it. So guys, the first tip that we're going to talk about today is, first tip for world building that we're going to talk about today, and this could be an entire video in itself, is it's okay to start small. That could be just the end of the video. This is the biggest tip for world building, in my opinion, is it's okay to start small. Now, it's easy to just start small, start with a couple of towns, really flesh them out, get NPCs, get quest lines, quest hooks kind of thrown in there. You don't even have to have the entirety of the quest decided upon. You can just kind of throw in a couple NPCs, a couple things that they need, or things that they need done, that kind of thing. Always remember, even the perfect person could have a quest line or a adventure hook with them. Second big tip that I have is it's okay to expound upon it. There is beauty in keeping things simple. And let me expound upon that. So, start with a couple major cities, a couple smaller cities, just to keep things easy and simple. Create at least 2 or 3 factions. You really flush them out, kind of get the main members in them. Depending on how big they are, you could get all the members. If it's like a small city, city-sized gang, and it's in a rural city, maybe there's only 5 or 6 members. But, if you're talking about a big city, you might have 20, 30 members, maybe even closer to hundreds of members. But you don't have to have all of those members fledged out. If you're doing a big faction, you could just do the high-ranking people. And the third tip is, remember, you don't always have to have all of your lore perfectly decided upon or fleshed out. Sometimes there's actually a beauty in having things being ambiguous or mysterious. There's a couple ideas that you have for lore in the world. You could have them all be partially true because they are different perspectives, or you could have some be false or misinformation that's being thrown around in the world. Historians that have gotten it wrong in the past, those kinds of things. That's always okay to have those be different options for when you're dealing with lore. Fourth thing, remember, your players probably won't always remember the complete lore of your world anyway. It's an important thing to remember. Your players might remember the lore of your world, but they might not remember every little detail. They might not remember that some random adventurer went to this random town, and now that's why this town celebrates this holiday or something of the sort, right? They might not always remember that. Most of the time, unless you're writing a book, you're probably okay in not having it all figured out. In the case of a book like Lord of the Rings or something like that, you might want to have your lore mostly figured out. There's going to be some things that there's going to be plot holes for, but that's just okay. So guys, the fifth and final tip is, remember that you're supposed to have fun at the end of the day. If you aren't having fun, then there's really no point in making this a hobby. Hobbies are supposed to be things that we do for leisure and things that we do for enjoyment and relaxation. Make sure that world building stays a hobby for you. Unless, of course, you're a writer and you're doing this for a living, in which case it can be a fun hobby, pastime, and it could also be your job. So guys, that's it for this video, and I will see you in the next one.